Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. Today's video we are here to break down, discuss and hell just have a cheeky wee conversation about Rangers 4, Motherwell 0. And what's actually crazy to think about, it was as mental before the game as it was after the game, because obviously we spoke yesterday in our preview / prediction video saying 6 PM kickoff, all that, we seen the promotion, 6 o'clock came and went, and there was no game, ladies and gentlemen. It was postponed for another 2 hours, and then even after it was postponed, we were all sitting around waiting for the team news, and it came 10 to 8, ladies and gentlemen. That was when we had to wait to find out that this game was officially on, but by God, was it worth the wait? But as I just said there, this was never ever treated as a friendly match, and the first 3 minutes of this match told us that after Barisic was nailed twice in the opening 3 minutes, and that was sort of a ringing of the bell saying, welcome back to Scottish football, lads. This is what you're going to be playing week in and week out every single week in the league. And as I said in yesterday's video, I didn't mind that. This is what we need to get used to going into this first game of the season up at Aberdeen. How else best to prepare for a physical defensive Scottish side than to play a physical defensive Scottish side? And Motherwell certainly showed that within the first couple of minutes. But what is weird to actually think about, given how the game went, is the first sort of chance did actually fall to Motherwell after Alfredo Morelos tried to do a first time switch. I think he was trying to go for Tavernier over in the fullback role, but he completely undercuts it. He plays the actual Motherwell forward in on just the defender, but Connor Golson does very, very well to stand up and he just sort of deflects the ball into the goalkeeper's hands. Very, very easy when it could have been very dangerous. But thankfully for us all, the next team that was on the attack was us, ladies and gentlemen, and it's brilliant build-up play that eventually gets knocked up in the air. Ryan Kent, you see him, he's looking at it, he fancies it, he catches it first time and absolutely buries it 7 minutes in. That right there is tremendous technique, and Ryan Kent just continues to build on his form per freaking game. And that's something we talked about right before even a pre-season ball was kicked, that we looked at Ryan Kent. People may doubt him, people may say this about him, but this is the first time in a Rangers shirt he's ever been fully fit and actually had a pre-season in him at Rangers Football Club, and we're starting to see what that looks like. And I'll tell you right now, it's like that finish. It's beautiful. But speaking of beautiful, we need to talk about the second goal in this game that came just 3 minutes after that stunning opener for Ryan Kent. And I feel really bad for Kent because we never even got time to truly appreciate that strike, because we were at it again and we were truly rampant, because it goes out on the left hand side. Barisic, he's got time and space, and if you give that much time and space to a player like Barisic, he's always going to punish you. But even in saying that, the way he whips that ball, and the ball is an absolute dream, and Hagi is equal to it because he matches the run. He's at the right place at the right time, showing a wee bit of aerial prowess as well for the wonder kid, because he buries that header right into the breadbasket, and you're sitting back thinking, gee, Jesus, maybe we should start postponing our games 2 hours more often if this is the end result. It was honestly breathtaking stuff for Rangers, and hell, I'm even still struggling to breathe right now just thinking about the way we opened that game, because it should have been 3-0 up within 13 minutes of this game if it was not a very good save from Carson, because once again we saw we were going after the ball. We saw the way we pressed and we have that wee patterns in the midfield and we are front free, the way we are now hunting for the ball to get the ball back immediately. We saw it over in France, we saw it versus Motherwell, and they couldn't cope with it because Morelos and Hagi is hassling the back line in Motherwell. Hagi does very well to get on the ball, he passes to Alfredo. Alfredo then gets his head up, something we didn't see a lot of for Alfredo Morelos, but we're starting to see it this pre-season. He gets his head up, he passes into Hagi, he connects with it first time, and again, it should be a goal, ladies and gentlemen, but full credit to the goalkeeper. It's a very, very smart save down to his bottom left, and it's a strong fist as well, making sure none of the rebounds drop to the Rangers players. But that is a wee indication of just how vicious we were in the first 15 minutes of this game. But unlike the past, Rangers didn't slow down and try and catch our breaths and start playing football, just taking it easy on oppositions. No, we just kept this going, and that led us to the next opportunity in the game where Joe Aribo, who I tweeted out, just he's some footballer because he's just so silky. He can do the dirty work, he can take the challenges, he can put the challenges in, but you can see he makes football look so easy, and that's a true indication of a tremendous footballer. He's got the skill, and he just beats people. That little ball roll and his fakes and all that. He created a very early chance, in the game in the right-hand side of the box. He just leaves the Motherwell player for dead. I think it's Polworth. I don't know, Kenny. He didn't even ken his name after trying to track Aribo for that amount of time inside the box. But anyway, Aribo's eventual shot does just drift over the bar, but you're thinking, Aribo fancies this, and by God, did he? Next up, we travel over to the 26th minute, and it wouldn't be a Rangers fan reaction if we weren't talking about a cheeky wee penalty claim. And whenever Don Robinson is actually in charge, it's usually always a penalty claim and not a penalty given, because we travel over to the 26th minute. It's a brilliant bit of football again for Rangers, just simply devastating onto the counter-attack. They invite Motherwell on them, take the ball off them, and go after them. The ball gets knocked into the air, and Alfredo Morelos shows his quality with kind of a touch pass. It was only all at one move, and somehow it stopped the ball dead at Hagi's feet, who does very well to stop and try and turn Lamig on the other way. And it looked to me like an absolute stonewaller. I don't know what your thoughts and opinions are. Again, the game's just finished. I've came up here to make this video to talk to you. Maybe you've seen it in mere replays, but to me, it looked like a stone wall penalty. But whether it was or it wasn't, we weren't given it in the game. But did that affect us? And maybe that set us back in the psyche? No, we just continued to play and play and play. And I just love watching Hagi and Kent play in this new role that they've been given. And I was very interested to see if it would change, because it's fine doing it in European football, but would Gerrard go for it against a Scottish opposition? Would it work versus a Scottish opposition? Yes. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Hagi and Kent, they may line up on the left and one of them may line up on the right, but that is no where they play. They're just constantly interchanging and switching. They have the complete freedom of the park to go wherever they want, whenever they want, and it's just a joy to watch, and it's an absolute headache to defend, because you see the Motherwell players, you saw it versus Leon and you saw it versus Nice. They don't know where to go. Should they track the man? Should they pass the man on? And I'm loving the way that looks for Rangers Football Club, because it creates space for pretty much everyone, and it also frees up Joe Aribo to get involved as well, and we all saw how that went. But before we get to that goal and that moment for Joe Aribo, to be fair, in the 35th minute of this game, it was Motherwell's time to go on the attack, and it was a bit of brilliant play for who their best player on the park was, in my opinion, and that's none other than Jake Hastie. He actually does very, very well here in the game. He gets the ball down and he isn't hesitating. There's only one guy in front of him, but that's alright to Jake Hastie. Fancies himself. He's clearly playing with a chip on his shoulder, and it goes after the guy with the big shoulders and Big George Edmonton and nutmegs him, leaves him for dead, but the eventual pass is just slightly offside. But he was a real bright spot for Motherwell all day, and if that's the kind of performance he's going to put in all season long, that's a very, very good thing for us, because we will get a player back at the end of his loan on top form. But what I loved about this 45 minutes for Rangers, did that give Motherwell a more of a grip hold in the game? That little chance here and just being slightly offside, did that give them a bit of belief? Did that give them a bit of confidence? No, because Rangers just stripped it off of them with a very next attack. Once again, heavy possession, but meaningful possession, getting forward, switching and changing. Eventual falls to Kamara, does very well, quick feet, passes to Hagi, who hits a first time shot that's very well saved by Carson again. But I just love the fact that whenever they tried to go forward, we went, no, that's not how this is going to go, ladies and gentlemen. This is your game, and we're coming after you. And that was shown again on the 40th minute. Rangers does very well off the ball to get the ball back and being meaningful with their attacks, and it's just a bit of brilliance here for Joe Aribo before they go. It's in the 40th minute of the game where it looks like it looks by every stretch of the imagination that he has gone this way to passing it to Tav, but it just beautifully disguises his pass right back across and plays Hagi in with space and time in the box. But unfortunately for us all, Hagi rolls the shot and kind of snatches at it, which is very unlike him. But just that pass for Aribo, to see that when I didn't even think he looks once to see where Hagi is just highlighting once again what a talented footballer he is. And speaking of a talented footballer he is, let's talk about the goal of the game then, shall we? The third goal in the game. It starts with Barisic. I mean, of course it does. It's Barisic after all. He passes to Joe Aribo at the edge of the box. He then passes to Morelos, who passes it instantly back to Joe Aribo, who continues his run, who then first time passes it to Hagi, who takes a touch and then passes it inward towards the box, who once again is picked up by Aribo. And then this is the point where the challenges start to come in. They try and stick, they try and block, they try and slide, but Aribo just leaves them dead. A quick little shimmy and he just passes it into the back of the net. Oh my sweet 55. I need a break, ladies and gentlemen, because that right there was absolutely sublime football at the highest level. Yes, it's just a friendly, but who cares? Anyone who actually watched that game and saw how many times they nailed us off the ball, they nailed Barisic, they nailed Hagi, they nailed Kent. It wasn't a friendly game where they were letting us run by them, ladies and gentlemen. They wanted this and they went after us, and that goal right there just absolutely roasted every single one of them in the box. And fair play, bow down to Aribo. It's his world. We just live in it. But anyway, after that moment of magic from Rangers, we go in at half-time and we're able to finally catch our breath. And I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of Motherwell players thinking the exact same thing as us. But I just sat back and went, you know, that 45 minutes watching Rangers play with that freedom, they play this new style, and the way they've got Kent and Hagi working perfectly in sync, that's going to get these bad boy grey hairs of mine back to black. And I was just delighted with that. Now this is where it's bittersweet for the game of football, because for us it's absolutely devastating as Aribo comes off the park, but for the Motherwell perspective, that's the best thing that could happen, because we made a couple of changes. We took Aribo and we took Kamara off in place of Stephen Davis and Scotty Arfield. And it was actually this double substitution that created the first opportunity in the second half, but it wasn't for us, ladies and gentlemen. The ball gets played to Stephen Davis, and Davis is just wanting to go backwards. He just wants to go backwards and pass to Connor Goldson, and Donnelly reads him like a book. I mean, if you actually go back and you look at that, Donnelly for not 1 minute thinks that Stephen Davis is going to touch the ball and go forward. He is running like a steam train going, he's gone backwards and I'm going to go and take the ball off him. And that's exactly what he does. Runs shoulder to shoulder with Stephen Davis, reads him like a book, completely manhandles him, and not like a foul or anything like that. Takes the ball, drives with it, but the eventual shot, like we talked about in the first chance for Motherwell, isn't anywhere near good enough to even challenge John McLaughlin, who just sits there and lets it roll into his hands. From that chance right to the 60th minute, the game was just sort of threatening to peter out slightly, as we had lost that attack to midfield rhythm that we had in the first half. All that attacking, free-flowing football that we were doing was gone when Stephen Davis and Scotty Arfield came on in replace of Aribo and Glenn Kamara. So in the 60th minute, we went ahead and shook it up once again, as nothing was really happening. We took off Hagi, we took off Kent, we took off Morelos, and we took off Barisic, who again was having a fantastic game up to that point. In the replace of Jermaine Defoe, we brought on Calvin Bassey for his second game of the day. We brought on Jamie Murphy versus his former team, of course, in Motherwell, and we brought on Brandon Barker to see if he could replicate what he did versus Leon. And spoiler alert, he did. But before we actually speak about what Brandon Barker was able to do in this game, the first chance that was actually created after those 4 substitutes came on for Rangers Football Club did actually fall to Motherwell, and this was by far their best chance to score in the match. It's a good shot, it's got loads of power on it, sort of deflecting, it's like ping pong, it's gone absolutely everywhere. But somehow John McLaughlin, who is already diving, is able to react and just get his hand up and palm it away. And what I really loved as well was not only that phenomenal save for John McLaughlin, who every single time he's pulling on this Rangers shirt, I'm looking back and I'm saying, I get the hype now. I understand why every team that's had him over the last couple of years rates him so highly. I'm seeing what he offers, and I'm seeing the battle that's being created with him and McGregor. It's very clever what Gerrard is doing. But what I also loved about that chance for Motherwell is, look back on the defending of Rangers. You've got Connor Goldson there throwing himself at everything, and you've got the other players like George Edmondson doing the exact same thing, and I love that. I think it was ended up being George Edmondson who blocked the sort of rebound that came after the phenomenal save for John McLaughlin. But I think that little moment there is getting overshadowed by the fantastic save by John McLaughlin. But just look at the hunger and desire of these Rangers players, throwing themselves at absolutely everything and trying to block and defend that goal with everything that they've got. Now though, it is time to talk about Brandon Barker, because the next chance was created by him once again. And to be fair to Scotty Arfield, he was heavily involved. A nice little pass to Barker, who passes it back, who then gives it back. Very reminiscent of the Aribo and the way it was built up for that goal. But to be fair, you have to just go, Brandon Barker's fast in it, because what he does when he's inside that box, just to take that step and just absolutely obliterate the Motherwell defender who was right next to him just leaves him for dead and somehow is able to get to the ball, drill it across. I mean, to be fair to Lamy, yes, it's an own goal, but what's he supposed to do with that? He needs to make contact because there's no one else near him. The ball is brilliant, and if he doesn't get it, it's a tap in at the back post, and that is what you want for a winger, ladies and gentlemen. Be a direct and be a threat and just be a nuisance, and that's exactly what Brandon Barker was every single time he got that ball. I think we need to start calling him the Flash because he's got to be hands down the fastest player I've seen now at Rangers for God knows how long. Now, after that fourth goal was scored by Rangers, the game sort of started to just see itself out. More changes were made. Ryan Jack came off, Jamie Barjonas came on, Andy Firth came on, which was just absolutely brilliant to see him getting some game time. I know he absolutely loves being here and he works so hard, so it's great to see him getting involved in some first team action. But the game sort of just started to peter out. But there is one other chance that I want to talk about before we wrap up and speak about Jermaine Defoe and the injury it looks like that he's actually picked up. It actually falls to David Turnbull. It's a great bit of touch, kills the ball dead, cuts inside, but once again Connor Goldson just makes it difficult for the attacker by just throwing his body on the line right in front. It makes it very, very difficult. It forces Turnbull to shoot it very quickly, and the chance that fell around about the 83rd minute for Motherwell was ballooned early bar because of the pressure and just brilliant defensive reactions for Connor Goldson. And with that being said, that's us all sort of done with the goalmouth action and the game breakdown itself. It was a brilliant game of football for Rangers Football Club, a near perfect performance by pretty much every single person on the park. And again, I really love the freedom, the positional freedom that Hagi and Kent have. I'm going to enjoy talking about that all season long with you guys on this channel. But there is one last thing that we need to obviously bring up and discuss, and that is something that we mentioned, that Jermaine Defoe did pick up a knock in the game and we finished the game with 10 men. Now, as I'm currently recording today's video, I don't know if it is a serious injury or not. I will throw up on the screen if it has been rubbished or if he's okay and he will be able to play and it was just a precaution type thing. But my first reaction when I saw it is, it's no good, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that right there just highlights once more to everyone that we need to go ahead and bring in another striker. We can't go with just Alfredo Morelos and Jermaine Defoe. Despite how great both players are, we need another cover there in my opinion, and that today is a perfect example of why. So lastly, best of luck to Jermaine Defoe. Hopefully I'm here editing saying that he's okay and he's fine, and I'm able to talk about that in the comment section below. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's everything from the game of football. Again, it was breathless stuff. Now it's time to hand the reins over to you guys, and I can't wait to hear what your thoughts and opinions are. What we just seen. And while you guys are hopefully getting your thoughts and opinions out there, I need to give my special shout out for the old man of the match in the game. And again, it was very difficult as a lot of people played well, but there was one man who was simply unplayable for every single second he was on the park, and I feel like I need to say his name in this video. It is none other than Joe Aribo. He was simply outstanding, lads. So yeah, he was my man of the match. So now that me and he have had their say, let's sit back, relax, and hear from the people on Twitter. Now, I asked them the exact same question as I asked you. What was your reactions to the game and who was your man of the match? And the first one comes in from DK Neil, old school channel legend. He writes in, team for me, also shout out to big Connor Goldson. Had his critics, but the big man was solid again today. Aidan writes in, are we getting a video tonight or tomorrow? Probably tomorrow morning, if you think about it. It's probably going to be at 12:30. Devo writes in, correct prediction for me, class performance, Aribo confirmed as the GOAT. Well, and mate, self-isolating Ryan Jack writes in, Aribo is the GOAT. He was my man of the match. Dickie writes in, Aribo man of the match, brilliant performance. Need a striker though, CJ, as soon as possible. So he's already answering that. He knew I was going to ask him. Stuart writes in, solid performance, looked sharp. Aribo has to be the man of the match for me. The man is simply a joke. Chris Graham writes in, Hagi and Aribo are such a handful to play against. Rory writes in, man of the match has to be Aribo. I really like the battle between Hasty and Barisic. Good shout out for that as well, by the way. Hagi and Kent were also incredible. Everyone was, to be fair. Changed my mind on Barker as well. He was very good. Sean writes in, Aribo or Hagi when they're on. The third goal was just unreal to watch. Liam1872 writes in, man of the match, Aribo all day. Change information is going to show everyone what the man can really do. And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video, Duncan Stewart writes in, loved the performance, CJ. What was your view on Hagi? The boy's a player. I thought he was immense. Yeah, mate, he was simply beautiful to watch. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. And as always, I've been Siege and Over 92. Thank you so much for watching. Now get to bed, some ease, if you're up here watching this at 1 o'clock. And bye.